The following social media strategy has been generating us 9 real estate leads on average in 24 hours. Now, what I really love about this strategy is that it works regardless if you have thousands of followers or just a couple. So let's look at why this social media strategy works so well, also how to set it up from beginning to end, and also how to convert those real estate leads as they come in. Now, the 5 steps that we're gonna follow are very simple. We're gonna identify a property, we're gonna assemble our SMAs, then we're gonna publish our posts, then we're commenting and DMing our SMAs, and of course, how we convert the business is by following up. Now, before we get into step number 1, I wanna give credit where credit is due. I wanna give a huge shout out to Chris Jones and also to Joseph Gonzalez, because it's those 2 individuals that form the core ingredients to this particular strategy. Now, there's some additional spices that we added in order to convert a bit more leads. However, at the end of the day, the core ingredients were provided by those 2 individuals. So a huge thank you. All right, so step number 1, let's identify a property. We're gonna head into the MLS and go to an area that we're pretty familiar with, which ultimately means you're going to an area that you most commonly farm, because you're generally gonna know the inventory that's available, you're gonna know the sales prices, and you're also gonna know the rental rates. And what you're tasked to do here is identify a property that is a good investment opportunity. You're trying to identify a property that in your mind would make a good investment opportunity for anybody that purchased it. So that generally means finding a property that might need a little bit of work. And the best way to do this, since you're a real estate professional, is be honest with yourself. Identify a property that if you had the disposable income, you yourself would end up purchasing. So again, this is very important because this is going to dictate if this strategy is one that you're going to be able to come back to time and time again because of your selection. Because if you select a property that's not really an investment opportunity, you're going to quickly lose credibility. And that's a good way for you to ensure that this strategy is never going to work for you again. Now, that's step number 1. We're identifying the property. So let's go to step number 2, where we assemble our SMAs. Now, what is an SMA, you might ask? Well, that is, of course, your social media Avengers. These are your friends and family that share the heck out of every piece of content that you put out. These are the individuals that are going to celebrate you when you win and also uplift you when you lose. These are the individuals that are going to tag you in every post that asks for a real estate agent recommendation. So in other words, you're assembling your social media Avengers, the people that are going to always support you. For me, part of my SMAs are my 2 sisters. It does not matter what I post. I could post about a business, I could post about a book, I could post about a real estate transaction, I could post about anything. And my sisters, they'll share it. So who are your SMAs? Identify 5 of those individuals. And while this strategy does work in multiple social media platforms, let's go ahead and focus on Facebook for a minute, because that's the largest social media platform and that's probably where most of your SMAs are anyway. So identify those 5 people right now. You probably already have a good idea of who 2 or 3 of them are, but you need to get 5 at least. And once you have those individuals in mind, you're gonna DM them what you're seeing on the screen right now, which in short is asking for a commitment for them to share the post when you make it. Now, chances are a few of those SMAs were gonna share that post anyway. I mean, there's a reason that they're part of your Avengers group anyway, but we're not leaving this up to chance. If we're gonna be successful on social media, we need to create our own luck. Now, of course, if you select it correctly, all of your SMAs are going to say yes, which brings us to step number 3, where we publish a post. Now, the type of post that we're going to use is what we call direct response via social media, where we expect a certain action or a certain response as soon as we post. We're not posting just for the sake of saying that we posted. And for the post, what we're going to do is we're going to grab an image from that property that we selected on step 1. Now, while it is your choice to make on the image that you end up using, I do suggest that you go ahead and use an interior image. My suggestion would be of the kitchen. Of all the posts that we've been making, it just seems that the interior kitchen shot is producing a lot more results than the exterior images. But feel free to test that. If you find that in your market, the exterior shots are producing a lot better results than the interior shots, then go ahead and go with that. But you for sure want to pair that image with this text as your post. Now, this is where most real estate agents stop. However, you're not most real estate agents. You're a cut above. You're going to take this one step further. This is where we call upon our social media Avengers. That's the entire reason that we did step number 2, was to assemble them. because now that we have this post out in the wild, it will perform organically by itself. However, we're not leaving it up to chance. We're gonna head into step number 4, where we start commenting and responding to our post, but we're also gonna be DMing our SMAs. Because as you're getting engagement on your post, you need to be responding to the comments. And you're gonna be getting things like, what's the address? How much does it cost? What part of town is it in? You're gonna get an unlimited amount of responses. But what you're gonna be commenting back on the feed is check your DMs. You're gonna drive people into the DMs, so you're setting yourself up for step number 5. But before we go there, let's stay with step number 4 and address our SMAs. After we make that post, we're DMing our social media vendors, letting them know that the post that you asked them to share is live. But not only are you gonna give them a heads up that it's live, you're gonna actually link up that post in the DM. So it's super convenient for them to click on that link and then they can share it as soon as it comes up on their screen. Remember, we're leaving nothing to chance. We're creating our own luck here. We're gonna push past the algorithm. And once your Avengers are in full force, you're gonna start seeing your normal post that would typically get a couple of hundred views, depending on how many followers you have, turn into thousands of individuals that are now commenting on your post, which now brings us to step number 5, where we're following up. Let's put it very simply. If you follow up, you're gonna generate a ton of business. But if you don't follow up and ignore step number 5, then you might as well not make the post, because while you're gonna get a ton of engagement and a ton of exposure, if you do nothing with that opportunity, it's gonna go wasted. Now, all of your follow-up will be in the DMs. That's where the heavy lifting begins. You're gonna deliver the additional details that they asked for from the original post, but you're also gonna start asking some qualifying questions. This is where you start having a natural organic conversation to where ultimately they become leads into your CRM or they become clients right then and there. And now that we've covered all 5 steps, you're gonna be able to execute this strategy on your own. However, I understand that the DM sequence might get a little bit tricky and a little bit more involved. So if you'd like the direct messages that we use to follow up, then go ahead and comment SMA down below and send an email to my team at admin@JaimeResendiz.com. And please make sure that on the subject line you put SMA so we know what to send you. Now, if you want a strategy just like this, check out this video right here.